Hey y'all, it's a podcast called Fresh.
Welcome to a podcast called Fresh with your host, Miles Amadeus Prower, who I'm not.
What up, dog?
I am Kellen Conley.
Yes, sir, he is.
And we're here for another Pulse Pounding episode of comic books. Been doing a lot of comic books, but there's good reason for it. How are you tonight, Maps?
Oh, I'm alright, man. Just reading these House of X and Powers of X is just, ooh, man. It's just like a gut punch, man. With nothing after, just a gut punch, like on Family Guy when Peter pushed that button and my man kicked him in the face and walked off. That's what it was like. As I had just left there with that shit. But gotcha. Great reads though, even Savage.
Yeah, in case you didn't know. We're going to talk about House of X or Powers of X 3 and House of X 3 and 4. So spoilers as always. We're going to still leave some to the imagination, but we're going to be covering some big stuff here. So start with Powers of X 3. So Maps, what were your thoughts on this third edition of this weekly serial that's been coming out from the minds of Jonathan Hickman and his co-creators?
Oh man, it's just, I can do a majority of this episode just on this issue alone. It's like, literally, like, I guess, first off, let me start off with, I think it was ill. They finally revealed who all the mutants were. And I finally found out who my man was. It wasn't Black Tom Cassidy. He actually was Krakoa in Cypher. I guess it was Cypher in Krakoa's body. Or Krakoa in Cypher's body. However it is, then, of course, Magneto, I thought he survived. He didn't. It's a hybrid of Emma Frost and Lorna Dane, which is kind of ill in itself. Then they got Death, who's Zorn, who was, of course, a pure blood. Wolverine, a pure blood. And who else we got? They got Rasputin. She sound ill as hell. She got Quentin Queer, Rasputin, Kitty Pryde, and who was it? Kenny Ambag? Man, that junk is sick. But just, man, I don't know. One thing, let me say kudos to my man Cardinal. He finally put in some work. Red Nightcrawler.
Oh yeah, he had some great moments in this issue, man. And this was setting up, it's almost like getting you ready for what you get in House of X 4.
Oh man.
Because, I mean, this is another suicide mission going absolutely wrong. I mean, the Apocalypse Nimrod fight, though, was just too dope. We knew how it was going to go.
Yeah.
Because Nimrod's the end-all, be-all. But Apocalypse was in there getting his jabs in, man. But ultimately, it didn't show it. But you know for sure that Nimrod came out on the end of that victory.
It's just the thing that got me. I would have thought it would have been way more Nimrods than what it was to take down Apocalypse. And it was just, I know, there was like three. And I'm like, oh man. And just to think that things have got to the point where Apocalypse is making that suicide play. Like, yeah, I'm going to take this L.
Yeah, exactly. He did take the L because literally this is their last, in this Moira timeline, this is their last defense against everything that's occurred up to these moments, man. One of my favorite moments of the issue was Zorn because like Homegirl said, I'm going to pull up his mask. And then she's like, I'm not worried about that singularity.
Dude, I thought that whole thing was sweet for the fact that my girl, Rasputin was like, yeah, you know, my man Zorn back up. His brain is a singularity. Old girl was like, yeah, you know what's at the heart of a singularity? The same place all of us is going. You scared you ain't gonna do it. You know what? Let's see. She pulled that trick on there. It was like, oh shit, oh no. And that was just how she went out. You know, she went out on her own terms. It wasn't no like, oh, well, no, they ain't go out like no punks. But it was just, man, the whole thing came full circle. It
was incredible.
It was incredible. It just, man, I don't even know, like, man, that's some, like I said, it's just real somber, man.
Not a lot of happiness going on in these X-Men books right now.
Nah.
Another thing was Wolverine catching that blast. Was that from a Nimrod? Yeah, Nimrod caught him and like completely, like, of course, in typical Wolverine fashion, loses a whole bunch of his skin. And then that's when Apocalypse steps in, of course, to kind of let him get away. And then we see why he had to get away, because ultimately he took the information about Nimrod to Moira. And that last scene with Moira and Logan, man, like, I just reread it before we got on here.
Just that last it's just, oh man, just okay with Myra, he's saying it's just how all
We're reading a lot of X-Men now.
Yeah, it's so I am reading a lot.
Okay.
It is all bleeding together. But it's just when you realize all of that was done for suicide play that had no end. It just was to, hey, get this to her. We're all going to die.
Yep.
But just maybe in another time, maybe right before this happens, she'll save it. It was all like on a Hail Mary, like you won't even see if they catch it. And it's not like, oh, you won't get tackled? Oh, no, you'll never play football again. You'll never play. But if they catch it, you win. How will I know? You won't.
Exactly. And the last couple panels, man, like I know that Moira and Wolverine don't have a whole lot of history. Obviously, they know each other. But you just kind of feel how important this is, man, because he, of course, puts the information in her. And he's like, you got it? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, what now? And then Logan's like, we succeeded. The old man said to send you on your way because there's nothing left to save here.
You're the best there is at what you do.
I know. And he's like, I'm sorry. And she's like, this is what you do. And then he guts her, man. And then it says, so ended the 9th life of Moira X. And that's the end of the issue, man.
And then just looking at all the timelines she got it's like, man, that we could do like a mini episode or like a hell episode in itself on that shit.
I know. Because, yeah, that was Life 9. And then Powers X is currently taking place in Life 10.
Yeah.
According to what we know so far. And, yeah, so I have to take back all those words I said about Powers X #1, man. Because I said I was so let down because I was like, I wanted more things to happen because House of X was so cool. House of X #1.
Yeah.
But this has been brilliant, and so has House of X, which you're going to get to here shortly. Yeah. But the coolest thing about this for me, Maps, is I still don't see where this is all going.
That's yeah. I like that too. It's like you don't know. You don't know where that next foot is falling, and it's like I see what he's doing. It's kind of like he's doing like a little bit of the future past pun, and a little bit of the future, and then whatever else they're going to give you is going to be the meat and potatoes in between that shit.
Right. Exactly, man. So, I mean, I could sit here and talk about Jonathan Hickman all day, but I don't really need to because obviously, go read these books right now. This is like the biggest, most important X-Men event that's happened in years. I haven't read X-Men books in at least 10 years, and here I am, back at it again.
And it's worth it.
Yeah, 100%. So, we're going to go ahead and take this break because we have way more stuff to cover in this episode. Got to handle House of X 3 and 4. So we're going to take this break, and we'll be right back with you.
Peace.
My name is Miles Amadeus Prower. I have what I believe is a pretty cool podcast that you probably never heard of. I Black Man Podcast is a view of a white world, seen with the aid of a black light and a little humor to help you cope. So check out the I Black Man Podcast on iTunes and anywhere you listen to podcasts.
This is the
I Black Man Podcast, offensively black.
We do it for the culture, not the vultures. It's a podcast called Fresh.
Yo, and we are back. Podcast called Fresh. Your man Kels, it's me, your man Maps. And we back at it talking about all things children of the atom.
Nothing else to talk about right now, not this episode.
And this is the issue that, oh man, this is Powers X3. And
yeah, man. House of X.
I'm sorry. House of X. See, I'm already messed up. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, House of X. But yeah, it's just dog. It's just.
How about that cover, man? Just look at that cover, the Sentinel and then the team.
So many dope variants at that too.
Oh, I know. There's like 15 of them, and you want them all for once.
Yeah. It's like I would buy them all as regular, just art by themselves.
Absolutely. You ready to do this?
Man, that you make me so proud.
Yeah.
And you read it the first time and it's like, all right, whatever. But it's just, oh man, it's just the setup for this whole thing. I like how It's no jokes. It's no frills.
No. Mm-mm.
It's literally like, which I think is dope, as the X-Men always been, like they're like a military.
Yes, they are a military unit. Even when they try to do the whole "we're superheroes" thing, like when they're trying to fool the public and stuff, they are literally an elite class military unit.
Yeah, they're like a whole bunch of like SWATs. Literally SEALs. They're literally like SEALs, because you got to think about it. At the end of the day, Cyclops, all he can do is shoot concussive blast out of his face. And he will beat damn near anybody's ass, and do not give him prep time. Don't sleep on Cyclops, dog. For real.
Not a game.
Not a game, dog.
My favorite X-Man, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
So they are assembling this team to go on this mission to next to the sun, literally, in order to take out Mother Mold that is under construction. And on this team, we got Angel, we got Jean Grey, we got Raven. See, I try to be fancy. We got Mystique.
Yeah,
we got
Raven Darkholme.
Kurt Wagner. Thank you. I was gonna say Darkholme, but then that didn't sound right. We got Wolverine. We got Cyclops. Then we also got who are the two other ladies?
We got my baby Monet.
Yes, Monet. Yes, who killed it in issue number 4, which we're going to talk about next.
Oh man!
And bad choice of words. And then the last member is, of course, what's her name? Maps.
We got Husk, Monet.
Thank you,
Husk.
Husk.
Right,
It's Husk. Yeah, Husk is the one who goes on this trip. So first thing I took away from these opening panels is, of course, you see "I'm so proud of you" from the X-Men. That's just always dope. Or from Professor X.
Yeah.
I mean, any parent that says that to a child, it just means the world to them. But did we know that Krakoa was on the moon?
Dog, I love how like he drops little things like that. And this is another thing that's like, all right, I got an episode coming out, y'all, where I'm reviewing the whole X-Men Red, Phoenix, Jean Grey coming back up till Kid Cable and stuff. And it's a pretty interesting ride. And it's dope because I'm finding out, going back and reading this, which is why we do this, and we suggest people go back and read. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of seeds laid for what's happening now. Long story short, I'm going to get into it because I want y'all to listen to the episode we do. At one point, after Jean Grey gets back and gets her mind together and everything, she goes to Black Bolt. And she tells him, we don't got to be friends. We got to work together. And he was like, "Are you mad about what I did to Cyclops?" He was like, "No." She said, "We got to work together." And she said, "I need your help. I have this plan." And then he was like, he said no, but she was like, "We'll work together in the future." And then they never really went back to that. So now when they leave and they go on this mission now, you see they're on the moon. So you got to think, if they're on the moon, the Inhumans had to allow that on some degree, because you can't, that's their turf. Right. You can't be on the moon if the Inhumans ain't, man,
Nothing happens on the moon without the Inhumans knowing about it.
Nah, they don't play that.
So, and again, all these case files that we're getting, they really get into like defining Sentinel, Master Mold, Mother Mold, Omega Sentinel, and Nimrod, which we talked about in Powers of X3, and in the Project Achilles, which is essentially what the X-Men are going to go stop.
Yeah.
Because this is the whole thing where they're trying to put this Mother Mold online next to the sun. It's the information that they stole from the previous timeline that we just saw Moira X die in Powers of X3. But then we get to a great scene that I'm just know you're dying to talk about.
Before we get to that, let me say this. You can say what you want about the X-Men. Even when on a suicide mission, facing the genetic death of their people as they know it, they're still gunning for 0 human casualties. Even though everyone on that base is there to wipe out their species, they're still like, "Hey, we're shooting a wound. Let's not kill anybody." I'm just saying that's class. But about this scene, oh my God. Oh man, this whole setup is like, dude, I love it. I had to post about it on my Twitter, y'all. First thing I want to say is, dogs, Sabretooth never, ever change. Please don't never change, dog.
This is how he's supposed to be written every single time, man.
Every single time.
He didn't get a lot to do in House of X1, but I mean, Whew, this is a powerful scene. Let me shut up and let you have it back.
This makes up for it. First of all, they card and bring my man in this maximum security prison. So, they about to sentence him. So my man is like, first things first. You can't see, he's like, I'm guilty. I've done it. I've done everything, and I'll do some more. But y'all can't hold me. Oh, we this and that. He said, if you think they had all these guns pointed on them. If you think for 1 minute, all this stuff won't stop me from turning your insides into your outsides, you out your mind. And the messed up part about it is that nigga can back that shit up.
Yes.
So
yes, he can.
Yeah, so he's like, basically, what y'all want to do? He's like, I'm a killer on the way my mama made me. And this scene, man, I love it. And I don't quote my man Bane often, but to quote him, you can hear Emma Frost and the Cuckoo's heels when they walk. I mean, it's on some Columbo shit. He's in there, so he's sitting there, he's talking hot shit. Sabretooth's talking hot shit.
Yes, they were.
Then all of a sudden, he stops. You hear that? What's that? Jasmine, what's that mean? You're fired. Dog, Emma Frost comes in. Oh, man. She come in looking like $1 million, clean as hell.
You mean like 5 trillion,
yeah,
bro?
5 dog. Dog, it's just, and I mean, I'm not going to read everything verbatim, but just like how, and this is what I'm always telling my man Kels, is like, they get Emma Frost wrong in the movies. She's supposed to be like, for lack of a better term, like Posh Spice. She's supposed to be like the best put together broad in the room every time. Every time. All eyes have to be on her. The whole reason why she dresses the way she does is not because she's loose, because she wants people to look at her. That's the whole point. And so it's like, yeah, you can't just look good. You have to be that bitch. I don't want to use that word to be derogatory, but literally when you think of Emma Frost, you think of that bitch. She doesn't care what nobody thinks about her. She's out there getting it.
Sometimes, man, that's just the best word for the situation.
It is.
I think any lady would agree with that if they read this scene.
Yeah, and there's just, they come in and she basically reads them the riot act with nobody behind her, basically just her and the Cuckoo's like, yeah, so how about you just let us take Sabretooth off your hands and you guys will be okay. Oh no, we're going to sentence him. No, that's nice. You can think that, but no, we're going to take him. And then basically tells them like they pull guns on her. And she's like, dog, listen, we can go through this if you really want to. And you and I both know what I'm about. Or we can just pretend and whatever things make you happy or you feel that you're being a good person about, you can tell you did it for that and still do what I told you to do because we got diplomatic immunity. First of all, I could only imagine the conversation when she realized she had diplomatic immunity.
Oh, wow. Man, that's a literal get out of jail free pass for her.
That's
man.
The last person you want who can say whatever they want to anybody. Ever.
What I really liked about the last thing she says, though, is it brought back that moment Magneto had with all the U.S. reps that came to Krakoa. And she was like, it's a brave new world, darlings. Best get used to it. Shoot. I mean, this is all setting up the eventual arrival of the X-Men.
Yeah.
And, of course, the people aboard Project Achilles, they see it coming, but they're kind of like, we're not gonna be able to stop this. Like, we didn't prepare for the X-Men. Like, we expected them sometime.
They expected them way in the future.
Right, like years probably. And here we are, and now it's they're like, oh shit, what are we gonna do? And then the beautiful thing, man, this is something I've missed about the X-Men books, man. As soon as they get close enough, my man Nightcrawler starts hitting switches, like literally. And he's scoping everything out, and he's teleporting in. And I was thinking, oh man, how's he going to know where to go? He doesn't know. Like, he has the specs. He knows where to go. And he starts bamfing in, and then he bamfs out. And they're like, oh no, what, Nightcrawler's here? And then they land. And
this Nightcrawler, man, this is what I was telling you earlier. I get pissed about. This Nightcrawler is the man. Like before, we talked about the whole, which is funny, it came full circle, the whole Wolverine and Nightcrawler thing, and about how it's just, his whole angle is dope. He's a priest who's a mutant that looks like the devil.
Right.
So his whole thing, his whole life, even on a cartoon, when I was a kid, it was dope. It was deep. He's like, if God loves me, why would he make me look like this? And I was like, that's some dope stuff my child mind can't answer right now. I don't know how to feel about this. But it's like,
absolutely,
even the whole point when they scared, they're like, because it's not like he teleporting out of a plane. Dude, nigga, this is space. So do you know where you going? And him just to be like, oh, girl, like, hey, Fräulein, it's okay, cool. Relax, I got this.
Oh, I know. Hit her with the German.
Yeah, he's
classic.
Yeah, he's suave and he's funny. But every time they do him in the movie, he's like, oh, I'm scary. And, oh, like the thing about Sightcrawler is he'll murk your ass if he has to. He doesn't want to. Like, dog, his whole thing is he's a swashbuckling pirate. He's the only person whenever they pick a weapon, he repeatedly gets like a rapier.
Every single time, man. I was about to say he's a swashbuckler because that's just how he should be written, man. And this is the Nightcrawler that I remember from the first time I saw Nightcrawler. And the other than that first scene in X2 when he's under mind control and he's like attacking the president, like this is how Nightcrawler should be written. So I 100% agree with you.
He's like mutant Spider-Man. Even when he popped up and seen old girl Karima or whatever on there, and he was like, "Hey, picking sides, I see, aren't we?" Yeah, bloom. Now anybody else would have been shook or nothing. He just saw him. Oh, okay, they saw me. Screw me. We still coming. Let's roll. Bloom, and just disappeared.
Yep.
And I was like, that's just so sweet. And he ain't shook. But one thing I do like about this, I like, even though we came into this rooting for the mutants, they humanized, which sounds dumb, the humans.
No, I was getting ready to say that. Yeah, 100%. They made us care really quickly too.
Yeah. Really, it's like even though they may have been, they were literally in their mind. It's like we're fighting for the survival of our race, and it's just you realize even they, we look at them as bad guys. They got something to lose too. Yeah,
they really do. Because I guess it's pronounced Erasmus. Yeah. He sees the writing on the wall pretty quickly. I mean, they all do. But he's like, I got one chance at this to even make this a fair fight, man. And he literally blows himself up for the cause. And that's the end of House of X number 3, man.
Yeah, he not only does he rewires his gun to make a bomb. With looking back, if a ship with the Cyclops,
which I didn't even notice. I didn't even realize that was his gun. Oh wow!
Yeah, on the low, he took that mug apart while he was talking to his woman, and was like, "Hey, we got to do what we got to do." And then it just ends, no closure, just an explosion. And the way the plane looks, it's like, dog, there's no way they're gonna come out of this one, dog.
It looks bad, but my comic book senses were telling me otherwise.
Me too.
And we should definitely talk about that when we come back from break.
Yes, sir. We definitely should. 1 second. You know how we hate to keep you in anticipation. Peace. We'll be right back, y'all.
See what happens when we try to do things in a half an hour or so. You just listened to us talk about House of X, number 3, and Powers of X, number 3. Well, we said we were going to get the House of X number 4, and we did. But I got to cut it off right here, guys, and I'm really sorry, but it had to be done because we really took our time with House of X number 4. So, hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure that you comment, review, subscribe, share. Let everybody know about a podcast called Fresh for Miles Amadeus Prower, a.k.a. Maps. I am Kels, a.k.a. Kellen Conley. And until next time, blerd up. Peace.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and comment. This has been a Hyphen Podcast Network production. They're the bestest.